Greetings again. We're here with Chris and Julie. An unexpected and unfortunate technical problem made it so that our interview was cut short the first time, and so we're inside here in the Latitude 10 office in Playa Junquial. They've been gracious enough to sit down with me a second at a time. Thank you very much for helping me so much with part 2 of Chris and Julie's Costa Rica Testimonial. In part number 1, we had looked at the first couple topics that we were discussing as part of a broader agenda. We had 4 points we were going to cover. Chris and Julie had talked about their experience looking for property here in Costa Rica and recently moving down here. They've been down for now over a month. We briefly started talking about their expectation versus reality, and the other points we were going to touch on were also sort of how they moved, the packing list they brought, if there was anything that they don't have that they wish they had, etc. And finally, go on to some tips for anybody out there. So without further ado, let's get rolling once again, Chris and Julie. I appreciate it. When we left off at the end of part 1, Chris, you were touching on expectation versus reality. A little bit, you had wished you had studied a bit more Spanish before you got down here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you've now spent another week since we recorded part 1.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on your experiences in town dealing with different people trying to work in Spanish without knowing it?
Yeah, as I said before, I think Google Translate is a must.
Yeah.
But quite a lot of hand gestures and so on, and it's amazing the amount of people that do speak English or have a little bit of English, so we've managed to get by. I'm always saying por favor and so on and so forth, but yeah, it's something that, if you can do it, grasp on, and I recommend, like, we should even be talking to each other in whatever Spanish that we can to practice, so absolutely,
That could be one of the toughest things in the world, practicing a foreign language in a marriage. Especially if one person starts getting a little better than the other. It can definitely be complicated, or if one is teaching the other, but it sounds like you're surviving, you've worked things out, and when you came down here, you basically had a few phrases.
That's right, yeah, just a few phrases, but with all that being said, we're still going to make 100% effort to learn, because I mean, once again, you're in somebody else's country, right? So
it's comfort zone when you go out shopping looking for something and everything like that. Rather than always pictures on your phone or using hand gestures and so on.
And I think it opens so many doors for you when you speak the language. You feel more comfortable, you want to go out and try things, you want to go looking for that destination, that tourist, really, if you don't know the language, and I remember when I first lived here, even having studied a ton of Spanish, the local dialect made it impossible for me to really understand what people were saying. And I just wanted to sit indoors, read my books, and really try and close myself in because I didn't feel comfortable, for sure. Has there been anything really, what's been maybe the biggest, any simple things about living here that you have caught you by surprise, whether it's, have things been quieter, the weather hotter?
Hotter, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely hotter, in a very good way, Quieter, not really, because we came from like a little rural feeling village. So on a dirt road, and we had acreage and everything else. So, but that's totally our scene. We love that small town feel.
We really appreciate when we go into one of like Santa Cruz or Tamarindo or whatever, and have to go down, downtown kind of thing, and then come back here and it's like, oh, it's so nice.
So
for sure,
you've got that escape outlet for sure. So we really like it. But I think are we shocked? Not really.
It's living up to what you thought.
We have to do a daily reminder though, like just to settle back and don't freak out so much, and
absolutely.
The change of pace is 100% different.
Sometimes it's an hourly reminder.
It is sometimes.
Something will remind you that, like, oh, if the something's happening out and there's a big piece of machinery working on
Yeah.
the road
Yeah.
and it's loud, or every little adventure that comes
Yeah.
up and you feel like they still haven't fixed that massive pothole right in the middle of the road, which actually I think the Siete up there.
They did, yeah, they did. I saw that.
That was a moment I used to pull up every time and sort of feel that prickle of, oh, but then, okay, it's a
It
pothole.
is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's you really.
And there's one thing I'd like to mention that I didn't maybe mention last time, but that you really need to adapt to, I had all these preconceived notions and things that I should have brought and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But you know what? You don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just look at the way they do things and go with the flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I've been doing for a lot of the stuff, even little repairs in the condo and stuff like that I've done. It's instead of my mentality thinking, well, this is the North American way to do it. Look at how they've done it. And guess what? It works.
Very much,
For
I
the
think.
most part.
Yeah, you've got to see a lot of simple things like AC repair,
That's right.
maintenance that they do utterly different. And
I never thought I'd have somebody with a pressure washer in my house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it worked beautifully and good for it.
No, and
Absolutely.
and there'd be that moment, you meet other people who, after that experience, it's a complaint, they have a pressure washer and they don't know what they're doing, and really you just have to realize that sort of experience is part of the trade-off to move to 90-degree.
Absolutely.
It's part of the adventure. It's part of the fun. Embrace it. Don't get frustrated.
You know what? Nobody else is getting mad about it, so why should we, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
Very much so, and that's probably the biggest learning curve. The people who find happiness here are absolutely in that category where you're willing to embrace these little complications that make life interesting instead of butt heads, get frustrated, stay negative, meet up with your negative friends and all rant and rave.
Yeah.
You see this happen.
Well, and as you know, you've seen a couple of the weird things that have happened so far since we've been here. So it's.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've had all kinds of fun things moving into a condo for sure.
Yeah.
So you two moved down with just 4 suitcases. You didn't bring a container or bother with that sort of process.
Yeah.
Of course, you were moving into a furnished condo with at least a starter set of flatware and everything.
Yeah.
Tell us about what was in your 4 suitcases and how you're feeling about your preparation.
Now the 4 suitcases.
And sorry, that's a little personal.
No, that's all right.
Not everything.
No. Yeah. We were fortunate enough to be able to do the 4 suitcase route twice. So we had come the first time to actually stay in the new condo that was after closing with our first load of 4 suitcases brought. At first you're just, and to be honest, you're just bringing, that's part of home, that's part of home, that's part of home, that's part of home. It just all.
Things you think you need.
But when you get here, honestly, the very first word out of Chris's mouth was, "Why did I bring all this stuff?" And then the second load obviously was, winter clothes. Although we don't need them here, but when you're traveling back to Canada or going to the US or whatever. And just little things that I noticed the first week when we were here. I do like my kitchen spatulas and I do like whatever.
Yeah.
And since back in Canada, we also not only sold the house, but sold everything with it. So we were trying to figure, okay, can we use this for our condo in Costa Rica or do we sell it to this person or so? I mean, we probably, even the second load brought more than we should have.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, okay, and then you know what? You can get anything you need here for the most part,
Yeah.
Little things that we find hard to get, like little things we love is Kleenex. It's almost impossible to find Kleenex, so, get used to using napkins.
Absolutely.
A roll of toilet paper on the table.
So we're all classic, right? And then, but for the most part, I mean, like 99.9% of the stuff you can buy here.
Absolutely.
So it's not, I think honestly, the packing thing is definitely an individual issue for people because there's sentiment and whatever else. And we were fortunate that we could buy 2 or 3 Rubbermaid totes and put something that was important to us and let family store it, So that was, and then we can just bring a little bit back if we need to, but I
Totally.
don't think we need to because, you know.
You got space and you're comfortable.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so no, it's just, I think honestly, if you're able to, once somebody does purchase here,
No se preocupe. If you're in Playa Junquillal, no, Michael, está bien,
Michael.
pase adelante. Muchísimas gracias, le agradezco. If you're in Playa Junquillal, the fine folks at Cafe Paradiso have just brought us fruit smoothies. Muchas gracias,
Aw,
Michael.
gracias, Michael.
Yeah, gracias.
Enjoy, you guys
Thank you.
can sip on that.
Yeah.
Cafe Paradiso has to be one of the best new businesses here,
It's
located
great, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in the same commercial and residential
Yeah.
center where your condo is. Anyhow, we are just shooting this live at our Latitude 10 office. Thanks very much to Cafe Paradiso. Anyhow, that makes me very happy to hear that you were content with 4 suitcases.
Absolutely.
Because I know people who try to bring containers, or we get the question a lot about
Mhm.
shipping. It sounds like that used to be very much the approach to moving to Central America. The government even set up incentives,
Mhm.
taxes,
That's
breaks that you could get a full container down. And people started doing that, or they really want to, but most properties here are sold furnished.
Yeah.
Many, if not all, of those furnished properties are sold with your basic rental-ready gear,
Mhm.
plates,
Mhm.
Cookingware, etc.
Yeah.
So really, I think the heartache of packing up an
Mhm.
enormous container,
Yeah.
when really you can enjoy it, it's almost a refreshing sort of cleansing move.
Yeah.
Sell your stuff,
You're
your
right.
You're
old
starting
life,
fresh.
you only need 4
Yeah.
suitcases.
I mean, you have everything from your towels, your bed sheets, your blankets, everything's here.
Yeah.
For the most part. So,
Absolutely.
I do think, with that being said, the first time, I personally would strongly recommend, like, if somebody is coming to buy, to stay in the area or around the area first and take a couple looks at it,
Yeah.
like we did, and say,
Get a
okay,
feel.
and then you get a
Yeah.
feel, okay, if I do buy this, I probably would wanna bring this,
Yeah.
this,
Absolutely.
Just total mental note and.
Test drive.
Yeah,
For sure. I think more than half, likely, that's a statistic I'm grabbing from thin air, but really lots of people are taking that route of renting before
Right.
buying.
mm-hmm,
Absolutely, I think it's at least that you have to make 2 trips.
Yeah.
And do that reconnaissance, have a time where you're really able to get a feel for things.
and I think we
then-
did, 3, right, before? No, 2 before we actually bought, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's still on the lower end of the scale.
And it's still on the lower end of the scale.
But I'm
Yeah.
glad it's going well for
Yeah.
you. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Fantastic.
So in thinking about, there are retirees or near retirees out there thinking about moving to Costa Rica. They've just Googled Costa Rica information and come to this video.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of advice do you give to people who are starting thinking about it, in looking at their entire process of deciding whether or not they should move here to
Mhm.
finding a home and potentially closing on it?
Do you want to touch on that first?
Just do your research and, use everything that's available. I mean, nowadays, there's really no excuse with the internet. You can find out everything you need to find out. You can look at blogs, you can look at, filter through the comments and the reviews, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you'll get the good and the bad, but most of them are, fairly accurate.
And also definitely, on that same note, just to be careful with some of these blogs and stuff, because you get into a lot of expat communities and a lot of the information, you still should do your own homework.
Yeah.
Because some of the information, you may think it looks like the easiest go-to to follow, and
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out that way.
Top link.
Yeah, so, I mean, we would, and fortunately that didn't happen to us, we were fortunate enough, right? Because like I said, the first time, you were the first person we spoke to, and, so it was excellent with all of the information. But 100%, if you feel it's gonna cost more, or whatever your reason may be, I still would, recommend 100%, you need to get professionals.
Mhm.
Don't try and do this buying thing on your own, don't try and listen to this person says to go with this guy,
Yeah.
you've got to deal with professionals, and like your brokerage is full service,
Yeah.
which is excellent, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, like 100%. And I know that when we were emailing back and forth, I mean, there was a lot of questions, and you know, it was sorry, another question, sorry, another question, but I mean,
absolutely.
ask them, right? Like it's.
No, and I think in us being full service, or me providing a full service, the important person to touch on, our lawyer,
Right.
you know, a recommended lawyer that either your realtor connects you with, or that's part of the team that's going to help you close on your property, but also provide a ton of guidance from residency and all kinds of questions. Very much looking for a professional there as well, because yes, the information changes every single day.
Yeah.
Yes, there is so much wrong information out there on the internet, because lots of people who have lived here a year or two are, you know, just trying to contribute, and a lot of times it gets jumbled.
Yeah.
And frankly, I also see, you know, sometimes there's flat out, you know, propaganda, which, you know, obviously I've got an interest here too, and I'm doing my own propaganda, but, you know, you'll see articles about the terrible crime rate in Costa Rica. And if you do your research and find out that these people are, you know, have only published negative articles about Costa Rica, and their Facebook page is basically dedicated to slamming the area. It might be in Nicaragua or Colombia, you know, some other country's investment.
But and it's with stuff like that too. I mean, if you're from Toronto, you get the same amount of, you know, crime and everything else, or New York City or whatever. You know? So it's just but I agree with you. We have noticed a lot of that in doing research. Is that a lot of negativity? But it's always ding ding ding, same thing. Right? Like it's,
filter that out along with the absolute super positive. You know, I mean, you want positivity, of course, but the people that say, you know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life.
Totally. There are both sides.
Yeah.
I think that more often you are driven to post if you have a negative experience.
Right.
There are a lot of people who have those mediocre, I actually really liked it, I didn't feel inspired to blog about every day of my life in Costa Rica. But when people either got ripped off, or they feel like the property man, you know, any one of those hiccups, oftentimes they're the first ones to blog. And oftentimes I think if you contact that sort of person and say, tell me about what, you know, real estate brokerage were you working with, or, you know, who were the people involved that made your experience negative, and you might find out, oh, well, I had this friend that I met surfing years ago, and I've been seeing him every year I come down to Costa Rica. You know, he told me I was getting a really good deal, on, and it's like, okay, well, did that person have a full range of real estate listings, or, you know, was that person really working in your best interest? A lot of those stories are born from, you know, people just not picking their team.
Exactly. And you know what? Regardless of what country it is that you're making a transition to, it's never going to be 100% smooth. You know, so it's going to be a learning curve. No different for Costa Rica.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasurable learning curve.
Yeah.
Honestly, because we knew nobody here. Not one single person. So it's not like we're moving to be closer with family or whatever. You know, like we. Considering it was just Chris and I, it was amazingly smooth. It really was. Absolutely. But that's with like the help of yourself and Anne Marie and you know Scott and Michael and you know just having a nice little niche of So it's been great.
Any other tips for people thinking about moving here aside from thoroughly researching and really picking their professional as well?
Other than don't get discouraged, don't get dismayed if the roadblock, if you've come into contact with a roadblock, just figure out how you can overcome it, deal with it, and you know what, you're going to make yourself very happy, and you're not going to be miserable and worry and that kind of thing. So
I mean, anybody can pay your bill here, so that's the coolest thing ever.
That's really walking into a supermarket to pay your electricity. There are some sensible things that they have here that, you know, maybe in the US or Canada they've got, all online systems or whatever, but, you know, they found ways to manage.
It makes total sense, and you know what, when you look at how it is done here, oh man, is it ever controlled in North America? Control. Everybody has to, you know, be in control of something. And I mean, why wouldn't they let anybody pay a bill? You're not stealing from them, you're paying a bill. So it's just, you know, like it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
it's been a real pleasurable experience.
Yeah, it has.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it has been so far.
Yeah.
Chris and Julie just moved here to Playa Junquillal in Santa Cruz de Guanacaste on the western part of Costa Rica, the Nicoya Peninsula. They're living at Plaza Tierra Pacifica. Here it's a commercial and residential center with a supermarket, Cafe Paradiso, our office, another couple businesses here, and then 7 condominiums upstairs. There's actually the exact same footprint of Julie and Chris's condo. The lower level, they're on the 3rd story. The one on the 2nd story is for sale at $225,000, fully furnished. It's the exact same potential experience Chris and Julie have had, except you only have to ride the elevator up to the 2nd story instead of the 3rd. Let us know if you're interested in that. My email address will be in the information of this video, both on YouTube and Facebook. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel or give us a like on Facebook. Again, my name is Matt Rosensteel. Chris and Julie, thank you very much for your time on both occasions. I truly appreciate it.
Bye from Matt.
Our pleasure.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.